Donald Trump completely destroyed this smug ABC reporter in his Day 100 interview. I don't know what it is over there at ABC, but they have a habit of producing the most bad faith interviewers ever. I mean, this guy doesn't even try to hide his bias, and Donald Trump gets tired of it and ends this guy's career. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I want to start with one of the funniest clips from the entire interview and sets the tone perfectly for how Donald Trump handles this guy.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across the stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst, I have to be honest with you.
Thank you.
First off, what a stupid question from that reporter to even ask. That would be like if a new coach took over a sports team and the reporter asks, "Do you think this team is better or worse now that you're here?" Or when a reporter will ask a player after they lose a big game, "Are you upset that you lost tonight's game?" It's like, what else would you expect Donald Trump to say? Our country was the laughingstock of the world with Joe Biden. Every single other country on planet Earth couldn't understand how the most powerful, most wealthy nation in the world was run by a senile old man. Joe Biden meandered around the world and told world leaders, "Hey, I'll give you some money if you agree that men can become women." I mean, this reporter knew the answer to his own question. But it's also the snarky undertone implication of the left-wing talking point that somehow we're less respected on the world stage. I mean, it's just common sense. But here's where Trump really gets on this guy as he makes an assertive statement about something he admits he doesn't know and wouldn't even have the access to the information to know.
A legal note fraud is a crime. There have been no referrals to the Justice Department on any.
Well, you don't know that, do you? How do you know that?
Have there been referrals to the? Are there criminal referrals?
How would you know that there were no referrals? I think there were referrals.
They generally all right. There's been no investigation from the Justice Department.
How do you know that?
I'm asking you, sir.
No, you're not asking me. You made a statement. You're not.
Now I'm asking you.
That was a statement that you made. There have been.
I'm asking you.
Have there been? Yes, there have.
So there have been referrals for fraud from the work of
there have been. Take a look at some of these things that took place. Billions of dollars were given to people for no reason whatsoever. Of course there have been.
I'm so glad Donald Trump shut down that guy's smug arrogance. I call it the pretentious Democrat crystal ball, where these Democrats just declare these things. They assert them as cold, hard truth without a shred of evidence to support these claims, or the means to even get the evidence to support these claims. Elon Musk wants to steal your social security number and use it for nefarious purposes. Okay, well, how do you know that's the case? Well, because I just know that that's what he wants to do. Oh, we gotta give unlimited due process to an MS-13 gang member, or else Donald Trump is not going to respect the due process of American citizens and start deporting American citizens to El Salvador. Okay, well, how do you know that that's going to happen? Because it just sounds like you're making up things in your head and taking them to be fact. And then he wanted to backpedal and say, "Oh no, I was just asking a question." And then when Donald Trump said, "No, you weren't, you were making a statement." And then he said, "Well, now I'm asking the question." Just the shameless lack of professionalism demonstrated by the liberal media. Like, Trump has to do these interviews, otherwise the complaint from the left will be, he's an authoritarian, he's a dictator, he doesn't talk to press that he doesn't like. And then when he does talk to press that isn't friendly with him, they never engage in a good faith manner. It's one thing to have tough questions for somebody. It's a whole other thing to go into an interview with a predetermined goal of being as annoying and rude as possible. Now, of course, this reporter brings up the deported MS-13 gang member, and this is what Trump has to say about him.
The person that you're talking about, you know, you're making this person sound, this is a MS-13 gang member, a tough cookie, been in lots of skirmishes, beat the hell out of his wife, and the wife was petrified to even talk about him, okay? This is not an innocent, wonderful gentleman from Maryland.
I'm not saying he's a good guy. It's about the rule of law. The order from the Supreme Court stands, sir.
He came into our country illegally.
The Democrats have put themselves in a difficult place where they're willingly choose not to fight for Americans instead for illegal immigrants. But what's worse than that is the person that they've chosen to be their martyr, to be their mascot, to be their icon of wrongful deportation, somebody who ought to return to the United States, which is one of the most vicious and violent gangs on planet Earth, and has a record for smacking around his wife and human trafficking. Not only is their anger totally unjustified because this guy received tons of due process, way more than he deserved, but I'm sure even most virtue signaling Democrats who want to be behind the "oh, he didn't get due process" issue don't want this guy to come back here. Here is where this reporter takes his stupidity to new heights as he blows Donald Trump's mind by revealing just how stupid he is. Watch this.
He wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute
Well, wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshopped. So let me
That was Photoshop. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry. But you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir.
Terry,
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's fake news.
When he was photographed in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're there
in
now.
your picture.
Terry.
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
Well, we'll take a look at that.
You do such a disservice.
We'll take a look at that,
Why don't you
sir.
just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
It's contested.
I swear, when I saw this talking point circulating around X from the Democrats, that the MS-13 tattoo was photoshopped, I could not believe how stupid these people were. Let me show you the picture I'm sure you've all seen of Abrego Garcia's tattoos on his hand that read out MS-13. So there's a marijuana leaf, a smiley face, a cross, and a skull. Now, most Americans, left and right, would probably look at that and say, that kind of looks like a gang tattoo. But we don't know what the symbolism is representing because, hey, we don't, work all day in the gang crime unit at the police station. So the Trump administration put MS-13 over the symbols so we could see what symbols corresponded to what letter or number. That's the exact same way that they would do it in court. They would show a jury the picture and they would say, these are the symbols on his hand and this is what the symbol means. But Democrats are so little-brained, so low IQ, that they think that Trump was talking about the letters above the symbols were the tattoos. The letters above the symbols were part of the tattoo. I mean, these people think like children. That's why they have such a fairy tale delusional worldview. Now, here's where Trump drops a fire response on the topic of due process and the insane lengths the Democrats think every illegal needs to go through before they can get deported.
But all I can say is this: if you're going to have 21 million people, and if we have to get a lot of them out because they're criminals, we're going to have to act fast. We can't. Do you think we can give 21 million trials? Let's say each trial takes 2 weeks. Is that what you want us to do?
The law
give
is the
21
law,
million?
sir. The law is the law, and you're
the law
sworn
doesn't
to
say anything
uphold it.
about trials.
No, not trials. Hearings. I said
These
hearings.
people came in. They're not citizens. They came in illegally. They came into our country illegally.
And
we have to get them out.
There's a legal process for that.
I can't. Sure, and we follow the legal process. I can't have a trial, a major trial for every person that came in illegally. We have thousands of murderers that came in. They're going to murder people. They already have murdered people in our country.
Right, so
we have to get them out, and we have to get them out fast.
Really bad guys, but in our country, even bad guys get due process, right?
If people come into our country illegally, there's a different standard. These are illegal. They came in illegally.
But they get due process.
Well, they get a process where we have to get them out. Yeah.
Okay.
What I've realized is a lot of Democrat opinions stem from a general lack of understanding on the particular topic. They say, oh, an illegal needs due process because otherwise, how will we know if they're illegal? As if the United States doesn't have an extensive database of who's not a citizen. When these people get apprehended at the border, they get fingerprinted. The government collects their identity and puts it in a database. These people have to get put into the system so they can have their court date set out in the future. Or in the case of the Biden administration, since they all claimed that they were asylum seekers, they're in the system for that. So this idea that we just don't know who's illegal, and so we have to go through this long, strenuous process of figuring that out, and then determining if they should be deported or not, and then taking into consideration all these factors. Oh, do they have a job? Oh, do they have a US-born kid? No, it's as simple as if you're here illegally and ICE catches you, you should be on a deportation flight that evening. I remember watching an interview where Tom Homan said that back when he was working for Trump in the first term, 9 out of 10 asylum cases were denied. And that's before Biden let in tens of millions of illegal immigrants all through the asylum program. So if the Democrat demand is essentially what Trump said, that, 20 million people need to have these extremely long hearings to determine if their asylum case is credible or not, is just preposterous, and there's no way to actually make that happen. What the Democrats are saying is they're okay with these illegal immigrants abusing the system, making a false asylum claim, knowing that they won't have a hearing for 10 years, if even ever, and will likely be granted amnesty at some point and be allowed to stay because, oh my God, they have to have Democrat levels of due process. Now, for the last thing I'm going to show you, I know Donald Trump has been destroying this guy all video, but what I wanted to show is an inspiring and optimistic message from Donald Trump about who he is and the great things he's trying to do for America.
What do you say to people who are concerned you are seizing too much power and becoming an authoritarian president like we haven't had before?
No, I would hate them to think that. I'm doing one thing. I'm making America great again. We have a country that was failing. We have a country that was left at all over the world. We had a leader that was grossly incompetent. He should have never been there. The election was rigged. He should have never been there. Our country suffered greatly, and now our country's coming back like nobody can believe. I have editorials just today where they're saying they've never seen anything like it. They love it. Our country's coming back, and we're respected again.
I know no matter what he says, the left won't believe him, but I'm glad that he took the time to address the nation, to reassure maybe the moderates who voted for him and now are hearing all the noise from the Democrats. They don't know what's true. They don't know what's false. And it's good that they can hear and be reminded directly from him what he's trying to achieve, what he's seeking out to do, and that he's got the backs of all the American citizens. Joe Biden somehow got 14 million more votes than Kamala Harris during a pandemic election where everything was just discombobulated and disorganized and rife with potential for fraud. And what did the guy do who got 14 million more votes than the person who came after him, his vice president? He absolutely destroyed and wrecked the country. It was so intentional. It was so blatant that the whole thing had to be rigged. I'm like believing it more and more at this point. Donald Trump won for a reason. And the people who voted for Donald Trump shouldn't forget the feelings of anger and uncertainty that they felt that led them to vote for him in the first place. Don't be distracted by all the liberal media nonsense and rhetoric and lies. Remember that you elected this guy to make the country better, to improve it for the future of our citizens, our kids, our grandkids, and that is what he has been doing these 100 days. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bell so you guys never miss a video. And I will see you in the next one.